Mm. All right, 32 minutes. That's better. Um, okay, everybody. Today we are going to talk about sociology. And I guess I would begin by saying that when I was younger than I am today, I decided to search out wisdom. I did. And I don't know what to say from here. Let's see, what do I say? I sought out wisdom. Like, one of the things I learned is that there's all these thought algorithms. But, anyways, one of the things I decided to do was that if I wanted to study something, I decided not to study the current thoughts on the thing that I want to study. And I did that so as really not to contaminate my thoughts, because sometimes we learn about a thing and our algorithms get contaminated. Especially if there's no like free thinking in the educational system. um, yeah, obviously. So it's the same with sociology, right? I've never studied sociology. There's probably a lot of great stuff out there. I'd actually want to study at some point, definitely. There's probably a lot of great stuff out there, but anyways, I decided to study it on my own, and I guess what I'm gonna do today is not even probably a fraction of some of my thoughts on all this stuff, but um, I'm gonna create a diagram. uh, and then we're gonna talk about society. After when I start creating this diagram. Now, I guess in order to set this diagram up, we will talk about a hypothetical. Okay, so let's talk about a hypothetical. Um, the hypothetical is this. Let's say that let's say that one day, without warning, or maybe without much warning, um, all of a sudden, there's a bunch of space creatures. Let's just call them space dinosaurs, who are floating through space, right? And whether or not this is our world, right? Let's say that it is our world, and but it could be any world because we're talking about societies. Um, Now let's say these space dinosaurs are like animals. They don't have sophisticated human thoughts, but they're just floating through space, and maybe them in a cloud. So if it is our world, then I guess the astronomers are like not paying attention, and maybe they come from behind the sun, right? So they didn't see them or whatever. But there's this cloud, and we can say there's a cloud, and within this cloud are all these space dinosaurs that are just floating through space, but they can exist in space. But they happen to collide with Earth, and they're now on Earth, and they're all over Earth. Or any world that you happen to create. So, what's going to happen, right? Again, we're talking about society. um, Well, there could be a number of things that happen, right? It's really dependent on the society that we're talking about. We're going to pick a color. It's going to be random. It looks like it's black. Now, so I guess we will start with, I have to write with the camera. That is weird. No, you know what? I'm going to write on my own. Okay, so you have hard times. Hard times happen. Now, what is the response of the society? Right? Space dinosaurs land on Earth, and how does the society react? Now, you could generally, from one point of view, break this up into categories. And we could generally say that a society could either come together or fall apart, right? So, you have hard times. And they're gonna come together or fall apart. There we go. So they're gonna come together or fall apart. These are the two responses that any society could have. So, what are the differences, I guess, right? Okay, we're going to move into the fall apart. Okay, that's what we're going to do. So, we're now on this diagram here, and boom, we're from hard times to fall apart, okay? And you know what, I think we'll get a new color. That sounds fun. And it's going to be a random color. All right. Now, if they fall apart, how are they going to fall apart? Right. Because there could be many different ways a society falls apart, right? You can't just say, oh, they fall apart. So from here, we're going to go to aggressive and passive aggressive. Now, what do I mean by this, right? Let's say the space dinosaurs attack, and it could be any society. Let's say it's a medieval society, and the space dinosaurs, because in the medieval society, let's say they've got all their walls up, right? And let's say you have a city where no space dinosaurs land within them, or even if they do, they're able to kill them, right? With much heroism. But they're able to protect their walls because the space dinosaurs can't get into their walls. And the space dinosaurs don't even know they're there because they're now animals, right? Or they are animals. They're not intelligent species. If it's modern times, like what's going to happen? People are going to go into the sewers. People are going to go into grocery stores. If you have a structure that is stone, you know, it's going to stand up against the space dinosaurs. But if it's like wood and paper, like they might be able to smash through if they know that you're there. Um, like, right? But so but you're gonna have survivors, is what I'm saying. There's gonna be survivors from this event, or any event, because we're talking about hard times. You know, again, we're talking about society. But you're gonna have survivors, and you're gonna have, you know, maybe some survivors who are one, maybe three, maybe seven, maybe. But in larger communities, you might have survivors of 2,000, of 10,000. But what are they gonna do, right? And so right now we're into they're gonna fall apart, but it's gonna be passive aggressive. Like, what does that mean, right? And what that means is that, you know, these people, most likely before this event happened, had no hope, and they still have no hope. And so passive aggressiveness is that they're just gonna, you know, lie down and give up, right? Oh, motherfucker. That's not good. Anyways, yeah, so they're just gonna give up. Or you know, they're not gonna work as hard, right? If we're talking about a medieval society, um, then, you know, these workers might just, like, you know, complain and be half-assed. Um, Now, if we're talking about hope, like, why don't they have hope, right? So why don't these people have hope? Um, okay, that's better. Why don't they have hope? You know, if we think about hope, how do we define hope? We would define it, generally speaking, like, don't quote me on this. This is just a general definition. But if we wanted to generally define hope, we would say positivity for the future, right? If we wanted to generally describe hope, positivity for the future, like, and where is the, like, realm of hope? You know, there's a lot of hope within religion, right? Isn't the religious supposed to deliver hope to the people, right? So if you're living in a society where this happens and there's a lot of passive aggressiveness, it could be that you just have, you know, a bad religious establishment, right? And this religious establishment is not providing hope to the people. Now, we will put aside questions of whether or not you need religion for the people to have hope. But, like, I'm just talking historically and modern even, but we're talking about any society. And so, I mean, you could put that into the equation, but we're not going to right now. So why isn't the religious establishment delivering hope to the people, right? Now, it could be that the religious are incompetent, right? So Okay, so there we go. It could be that the religious are incompetent, and they're just not doing their jobs right because they're stupid. Um, and there could be many reasons why this comes about, right? You could probably think of another number of different ones right now. I don't feel like doing that. But it could just be that they're incompetent. But it could also be that the religious folk are bad, right? Um, Now, why would this come about? This would come about because there's no respect for morals in the society. And if there's no respect for morals in the society, then there are going to be some folk out there who, decide to enter into religion as a way to um, abuse people in one way or another. And so the morality of the times could be extremely bad, right? And so that you have bad religious out there, and so there's people just, they have no hope for the afterlife, or have no hope for their current soul or whatever. Um, yeah, no, it could be that there's this passive aggressive behavior within the survivors, that they're just like, I suffer and toil and nobody appreciates me. Oh my God. So they're just going to give up. All right. Okay, so now we have let's see here. We're going to branch off over here and say good religious but corrupt morals. So we're in the passive aggressive thing here. And so we branched off again to a third option that says good religious corrupt morals. So in other words, the religion could be properly doing their job. It's just that maybe through the culture, or it could also be through familial control of offspring, and they're passing on, the families are passing on stuff that the religious don't want them to. I don't know, but I mean, you could have a case where people are passive aggressive because the morals are bad, right? Um, I mean, like, if we're talking about societies, like, let's talk about a society where the men are cuckolded all the time. In a society like this, these men, aren't gonna fucking care about all the propaganda of the society that is in charge. Um, they're not gonna care. Uh, and oh my God, you could even go more complex, I guess, than I'm going now. But we're gonna move from there to slaves, right? So again, we're going back to no hope. There's no hope in society, right? So there's no hope in society, and why would there be no hope in society? And everything I've just said thus far deals with like religious, right? Um, but there could also be no hope in society, because the people are slaves, right? And if the people are slaves, that's a legal issue, right? So, in other words, the laws are bad, right? We're talking about a society where people fall apart, and they fall apart through passive aggressiveness, right? In other words, people are like, fuck it, I don't care about the future. My progeny does not care about me. So they, yeah, no, there is no hope because of, let's see here, this is religious. And we'll go up here. And what are we doing? We're doing physical and mental. Okay, so there we go. So this is all religious right here. But these deal with the laws. So, and we're talking about physical or mental. Physical or mental, and then masculinity. Masculinity. Okay. Obviously, physical slavery is are laws that allow physical slavery, right? Like Nostradamus said that in the future the people would be living a false freedom, right? And I think anybody who knows anything about Athens knows that they are a people of false freedom, right? Because they have all this injustice and slavery within their laws, but then they say that they're free, like not. So, like the Athenian people would be mental slaves, right? And like here you're getting into really dystopian type of stories, right? Because actually, like one of the reasons I'm doing this is like I love stories. And so what society is this story happening in? Right? Because as we'll discuss later, like I'm sorry to tell you, but this diagram is false and not real. But like if you tweak any of this stuff, the society changes, right? And so a society that's under physical slavery is different than a society that's under mental slavery. Um, but in both cases, we're talking about a society where the slavery is losing its power, right? Because then we could get into even more complexity there. If there's passive aggressive behavior, then this slavery is not succeeding in its job anymore, right? And so we're talking about incompetent slave masters, I guess, because things are falling apart. So there's this poison there. And what I'm saying is that mental slavery successfully done, works wonders. Because like look at the United States. Oh my God. Look at China and look at any of them. It's mental slavery. Is very powerful. But anyways, I think that's, and that deals with more of the laws rather than the religion aspect of why some people would be passive aggressive during hard times. Right, and as we'll see, this is actually a discussion all about video games. Totally. Okay, so we did physical, mental. Now we're going to do masculinity, and I think that's, pretty easy. Let's see what color masculinity gets. It is blue. We have blue. All right, and we're still in passive aggressiveness. So, I think, passive aggressive behavior is obviously not masculine. So maybe we could say no respect for men, basically. No respect for men. There it is. Masculinity. Right? Because passive aggressive behavior is not masculine behavior. But like for me, I like passive, like I'll use passive aggressive behavior every now and then. It's fun to use. And that might make me a woman. I don't care. But like if I'm working a job and this job has something within it that I don't like. Like I don't want to do this job over here. I'll do this job over there. And so if there's a job that I don't want to do, I'll just pretend to be bad at it. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so, I mean, like what I'm talking about right now is really sympathy for the individual, right? Because we're talking about societies. But if you think about all these different characters within each of these different societies, like you have to put yourself into their shoes. What's the world that they're living in? Because it's not yours, dumbass. And so you can't put them under the same judgments that you put yourself. And so it's like, hey, maybe sometimes passive aggressiveness ain't such a bad thing, right? Because again, we're talking about like the worst of circumstances, right? Although things get very interesting, I think, here soon. But we're in the fall apart stage where there's a sickness within the society, and it's like, where is this sickness, right? And you can figure out what this sickness is through my diagram. All right, we'll continue this later. I'm 29 minutes in, almost. And I only have 3 minutes left, so I have to get rid of something, and then I'll make more.